we're going to be talking about the technology we started with when I started here in 1982 with a cone planter. Very similar to this. It's a little more modern than what we had before with trip mechanism. This one has aluminum circular cone with 64 cells, and when the electric solenoid is activated, this cone will lift up and dispense the seed supposedly evenly across there, and then the distance was determined by setting the gears over here on the Almaco gearbox. So that's how we determined how far or the distance we were going to plant on our plot. Was done mechanically with gears, and then this made one revolution within that gear and emptied all the seed out. You saw earlier that the seed went out, and some of the issues that we had with this was the soybean seeds would go very well. We got very good distribution. We planted higher populations, but with corn, a lot of the corn seed is flat, and there's some rounds and then there's some mixes, and what you get is when the seed slides down this tapered cone, it doesn't always distribute evenly, and what that would cause was blank spaces within the row. Our seeds would be right and the population was there, but the spacing was incorrect. So there were some things on our new planter that have overcome these issues. So the first thing we would have to do pulling in, we would have to know how big our test was, how wide and how many ranges deep that we were going, and we already knew the footage of our plots. That was predetermined when we put seed in the packets. We would pull in, we would have to lay a tape measure out, square the field off, lay a tape measure out, and put a flag, say every 30 foot on both sides of the field, the width of the test we had to plant. And then we would have to drive centered up this tractor and planter on those flags. One guy drove, one guy planted, and we would trade off. So you would drive across the field, and that was your mark for pushing this button on these cones to trip them to start planting. So everything was hinged on how straight that guy on the tractor drove. And the biggest issue was when to push that button with your thumb every 30 foot up and down the rows all day long. So you had to learn to have a calibrated thumb. We now have GPS, wonderful technology, and GPS precisely tells you where 30 foot is, and we have purchased an RTK unit which is sub-centimeter accurate, so you know exactly where the 30 foot is from the A point where you start in the field and lock into an A point. And once you have GPS technology, you can retire these calibrated thumbs. It takes over for you.